All right, so we're going to continue from where we left off yesterday. This is going to be number 15, okay? Now, they want us to graph number 15. So in order to graph these things, the best thing to do is to write it in slope-intercept form. In other words, solve for b, okay? So, no, I'm sorry, not solve for b, solve for y. So, I have 2x plus 5y equal to negative 15, and we're going to solve for y, so let's subtract 2x, okay? So that gives me 5y equals negative 2x minus 15, and to get y by itself, we have to divide everything by 5, so when I do that, I get y equal to negative 2/5 x minus 3. Now, the reason why it's important for us to do this is because this gives us two big clues, okay? I know that the slope is negative 2/5. I know that the y-intercept is negative 3. Given those two pieces of information, I can tell which graph is correct, okay? The first thing I'm going to look at is my slope. Notice my slope is a negative slope. That means the graph should be going downhill. So if I look, part A is going downhill, so that makes sense. B is going downhill, so that's okay. C is going uphill, so that's not good. And D is going downhill. So, okay, so far 3 out of the 4 are okay, but at least I eliminated one of them. And then I look at my B value. It has to cross negative 3 on the y-axis. So notice this A line is crossing way down here. That's not negative 3. Negative 3 is right here. Okay? So that one's wrong. The next one is crossing at what looks like 3, not negative 3. So that's wrong. And just to verify, this one right here is crossing at negative 3, right? It's right there. So this one has to be D. Notice to graph, you actually don't have to create a table. You don't have to do an XY chart or anything like that. You just have to be aware of what's important. So your slope is important, so you know whether it's going up or down or flat or straight up and down. Okay, but that does pass at negative 3 right there. And it is going downhill, so it seems to fit all the characteristics. Okay? So look for stuff like that. You're looking for the characteristics of the graph. All right, so let's look at number 16. It says, write the slope-intercept form of the equation of each line given the slope and y-intercept. So they want me to write this form of the equation. But notice they gave me m and they actually gave me b as well. They said the slope is negative 5/4 and the y-intercept is 2. So this one's pretty easy. I just got to plug those numbers in. So y is equal to negative 5/4 x plus 2. That's C. So that one's really quick. But they progressively get harder as we keep moving, okay? But that one was pretty quick. Now, 17 is very similar, but they do kind of give us less information here. They said, write the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line. Okay, so let me zoom into the graph here. So I have to get this equation, y equals mx plus b. All right, I need my slope and I need my y-intercept. Now, the y-intercept is usually pretty easy. Look, I'm going to put a dot right there. That's negative 5. So that means that b is negative 5. Okay, now I'm going to pick another point. So I'll pick this point right next to it. To go from the bottom left to the top right point, how many times do I have to go up? One time, right? How many times to the right? So it's 1 over 1. That's my slope. 1 over 1 or just 1. So m is 1, b is negative 5. So y is equal to 1x minus 5 or just x minus 5, which would be d. Okay, so notice it's still an easy problem, but they gave you less information, so you have to figure out, how do I find the stuff I need? You're always going to need an m value and a b value, so you got to figure those out, okay? So here's another one. It says, write the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line through the given point with the given slope. So they give us a slope and they give us a point, but they didn't give me the y-intercept. They did give me the m value, right? M is 0. I know that. But I don't know what b is. Okay? And that's basically what I need. I got to figure out the b value, because I need this equation, y equals mx plus b. Okay? But I do know m, and I do know a point, guys. I know this point right here. This is x, this is y. Okay? The x value will go right here, and the y value will go right here. And the m value will go right there. I can plug everything in right now, and the only thing left to solve for would be b, which is exactly what I'm looking for, right? So let's plug in the y value. That's a 2. M is a 0. X is a -2 plus b. So that means that b is equal to 2, because that'll cancel out, right? 0 times -2 goes away. So it means that b is 2. Now I know that m is 0, b is 2. Let me write my equation out. 0x plus 2, which is just y equal to 2. That's a, and you're done. Again, it's the same question that we did in the very beginning, but they're giving me less and less information, so I have to go through finding it now, okay? So it gets a little bit more difficult every time. Number 19 is like the hardest type of these, okay? Because they don't give me a slope and they don't give me a y-intercept. And actually, that's a lie. They did give me the y-intercept. This is the y-intercept, but a lot of times people don't know. They don't notice it. Maybe you're going through it too quickly. And that's okay. If you don't see it, that's fine. Okay? But number 19 wants me to do the same thing. Write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form. So y equals mx plus b. But they didn't give me a slope or an intercept. So, go ahead.
Is this the one where you do y to the second minus y to the third?
You can use the point slope form if you want. Yeah. But if you want to stay consistent, that way you're not having to learn too many different equations, you can still do this one the way we've done all the other ones. So that way you don't have so many equations to worry about. But yeah, you could use point slope form for this one. And you could have done it actually for number 18 as well. So here we go. Slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This is x1, y1. This is x2, y2. All right, and we're just going to plug it in. So m is equal to y2, that's 4, minus y1 is -4, over x2, which is -1 minus 0. So that means that my slope is 8 over -1, so it's -8. That's my slope. Now I got to figure out my b value. So to figure out my b value, I'm going to rewrite my equation. But I'm going to put in the -8 in there, and then I'm going to put in any point that was given. Now, I always like using anything with a 1 or a 0, but preferably 0, because that tends to get rid of stuff. So I'm going to use the 0, -4. So x will go here, and your y will go there. Okay? So -4 is equal to -8 times 0 plus b. But this cancels, so it's just -4 is equal to b. Now that I have m and b, I can just plug it into that equation that I wrote in the very beginning, and I'm done. So y is equal to -8x minus 4, which would be b. So every problem, number 16, 17, 18, and 19, every single one of those problems was the same outcome. Okay, use this formula to do these problems. But they progressively got more difficult because they were giving you less and less information. Okay, so know how to deal with that. Okay, when the information gets more complicated, know how to kind of go through the process. All right, number 20. The next one starts to move a little bit faster here, if I'm correct. Number 20 says to write the slope-intercept form of an equation of the line described. They want an equation that is parallel to this. Now, remember, if something is parallel, that means they have the same slope. Notice this has a slope of -3. Which equation has a slope of -3 as well? D. So instead of doing any work, just pay attention to it, okay? So the answer would be D because they have the same slope. Okay, for number 21, well, they want it to be perpendicular to that equation. Well, perpendicular slope means you got to flip it and change the sign. So what would that be? A 4. So which one has a 4 as the slope? A. So you're done. Okay? So that's it. All right? Notice, normally you're supposed to calculate a brand new equation and all this other stuff, but if you notice, like, okay, perpendicular, they have to have the same slope, opposite reciprocal, and for parallel, they have to have the same slope, then look at that and use that to find your answers. Okay? All right, now these next two problems are having to do with horizontal lines. Just a real quick reminder for you guys. If it says like y equal to or y greater, y less than, the lines are always horizontal for these, okay? If it says x equal to something, then those lines are vertical. Just a real quick reminder, like we did this a long time ago, but maybe you forgot. X's and Y's, they're either horizontal or vertical. The Y's are side to side. The X's are up and down. So for number 22, they say y is less than -1. Okay, so that means the line has to be side to side. I'm going to zoom out really quick. From all four options, B doesn't make sense because that one's vertical. They have to be flat. Okay? Now once I got rid of B, I'm going to go back and look at my problem. It says y is less than -1. So we need a line that is at -1 that's flat. Okay, now that one makes sense. It has to have a dash line. That one makes sense. And since it says less than, it has to be shaded below. Well, that one doesn't make sense. So this one is not right. And then you look at C. That one is at -1. It's a dash line. It's flat. And it's shaded below. So that's perfect. Okay. Notice how D is shaded above. So that one's not going to work. And we're going to do the same thing for which one is this one? 23. We're looking for a line that's flat, okay, that's shaded above, and it's a dash line, okay, and dash line at 4. So let me zoom out really quick. If you look, every single option is a vertical line except for C. So it has to be C. Now, if this would have said x greater than 4, then those would have to be vertical. But this says y, so it's going in a horizontal fashion. All right, we're almost there. Because even though these are graphing problems, we don't actually have to do a lot of work for it. You just have to remember the following. So you need your HK. All right? You need your HK. Remember, H is the opposite of what you see. K is exactly what you see. The HK is where the little pointy part is, the vertex. Okay? So look at my equation for 24. Where is my vertex? -4, -1. Okay, now that I know -4, -1 is my vertex, I'm going to look to see which graphs have a point, the little sharp edge there, at -4, -1. So let's see, -4, -1. This one makes sense, so that one's a candidate. This is at -1, -4, that's not right. This one's at 1, 4, that's not right. Remember, I need -4, -1. And this one's at 4, 1, so this one's not right. So that means that only A is the possible answer. All right, we're going to do the same thing for number 25, but there's something I have to do for number 25. Notice the negative in the front. That means the graph doesn't open up, it opens down. So it should be upside down. Okay? So that means that B can't be right. And that's the only one that we can get rid of right now, because that one's opening up. It needs to be opening down. All right, what's my HK for this one? All right, so -3, -2. So let's see. -3, -2. This one looks good. This is 3, -2. That's wrong. And this is 2, -3. That's also wrong. So the answer is A. Again, we don't have to graph anything, right? That's the nice thing about these multiple choices. As long as you can identify the important pieces, you can identify the answer without ever graphing. Okay? That's what I'm doing right now. I think the next couple questions are pretty quick. Yeah. So the next ones are just like description problems. So for number 26, they say it opens up, so that means your A term should be positive. It shifts 12 units left, and it shifts 6 units down. Now, if it opens up, the A term should be positive, so that checks out. That's good. +2, so that's good. Shifts 12 units left, so that means it should be a +12. So this is wrong. Okay, and then 6 units down, it should be a -6, so that's okay. But this part is wrong, so this is false. Okay, that doesn't work. If it was a +12, then that whole thing would be a true statement. But it's not. Number 27, it opens down, so that means A should be negative, so that's okay. 20 units to the right, that should be a -20. So that's wrong. And then 5 units up, that should be a +5, so that's wrong as well. So this is false. All right, number 28. They want us to find K of 7. In other words, plug in a 7 into the equation. Okay, this 7 goes here. So 7 plus 4, that's 11. So let's see. All right, number 29. Perform the indicated operation. So they want me to multiply, okay? That dot right there means times. So F times G. So 2x minus 4 times 3x plus 2. So I'm just going to distribute. So 2x times 3x, that's 6x squared. 2x times 2, that's positive 4x. -4 times 3x is -12x. And -4 plus 2 is -8. Now combine your like terms. 4x minus 12x, that's going to be a -8x. 6x squared minus 8x minus 8. Now I don't know why the multiple choice didn't show up for these, but it's okay. So that would be your answer for number 29. And like I did with period 1, I'm just going to do number 30. Just because it feels weird to stop at 29 when we're so close to 30. So, and 30 is not that difficult. They just want us to subtract these. G of x minus f of x. Okay? So it's -4x minus 1 minus, and then f of x is x plus 3. Notice we're not multiplying these together like we just did the other ones. We will multiply the negative sign in, that's for sure. We're going to multiply that inside. So we're going to get negative 4x minus 1 minus x minus 3. And just combine them. So negative 4x minus x, that's negative 5x. And then negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4. So that would be your answer right there. Your homework is 30 to 44. Okay, 14 problems. 30 to 44. So we have 19 minutes. So you can either work on that, you can work on your ALEKS, okay, or if you have to study for something else, then feel free to do that. But you're working on 30 to 44.